Today, we're talking classic WoW phasing. Thanks for joining us. Bonus XP starts now. What's up, everybody? Thank you for taking time to listen to this bonus XP, focusing on classic WoW. We hope you find it valuable, and we're excited to bring it to you. Today, we're going to go over what phases are, why Blizzard used them, and the details of what each phase is planning to add to the game. But first, if you're enjoying this and our other content, we'd love to hear from you. You can email the show at xpmedia2020@gmail.com or follow us on Twitter at Ronal Gaming and at MTBTrigger. If Discord is your thing, we're building an active Discord community, and the link will be in the show notes. Also, be sure to check out our main show, the XP Gaming Podcast, where MTB and I talk all things games on a weekly basis. If you're looking for a place to play Classic WoW, join us on the Thunder Fury US Horde side in the Rested XP Guild. We will be doing organized raiding, PvP, and even some twinking. But if none of that is your thing, you're still welcome. We're building a community that is all about having fun and playing WoW, the way that you want to play. We have people of all skill levels and experience. You don't have to have played WoW for 15 years. In fact, we have quite a few people who have never played WoW and are starting with Classic. If you're listening to the audio-only version of this, please take a moment and leave us a 5-star review. It really helps us rank up and reach more people with our goal to create a positive community around games that we all love. Finally, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of the new content we're creating on a regular basis, and leave a comment with your thoughts. Alright, let's dive in. Blizzard had a challenge with Classic WoW. The game is so mature that there's such a body of knowledge out there. How do you create a new game feeling and progression with a game that's literally 15 years old? Well, phasing is the answer. Paced content release to not only keep people interested, but also give all players the experience of playing the game as it was during those early years of development. And it's very important that when you play a game to feel like your character is progressing with the story and the abilities and the systems in the game. And the only way to pull this off with Classic WoW and make the game last for more than a couple of months was to do phasing. I really personally like the way Blizzard is approaching this, and it's making my enjoyment of the game as a longtime player very high as we're going through now the transition from the early launch phase and getting into these different content additions. Before we dive into each individual phase, be sure to check back on a regular basis. We'll be creating survival guides with detailed information on how each phase will affect your character and what you can expect. Phase 1 was the launch of the game. We're in Phase 1 right now, and Phase 1 included, at the high end, for PvE, Molten Core, which is a level 60 raid, the Onyxia raid, which is also a level 60 raid, and the Moradon dungeon, which was in addition to the original game, so it's considered to be a phased addition. In PvP, World PvP is nothing but just griefing out in the world. There is no formal honor system, there is no formal ranking system. Right now, all you can do is run around and kill people. Phase 2 will include a new raid, a new world boss, some new PvP features, and a new dungeon. So on the PvE side, we're going to get Dire Maul. This is going to be a new dungeon. Dire Maul includes better gear, so as you've progressed to max level, you'll be able to progress your character by getting some better gear. Some world bosses, which are large outdoor raids, which will be competing with large groups of people to get a single outdoor boss. These are not instanced, and it's very important to note that they're not instance content. So what's going to end up happening is you're going to be competing with hundreds of other players, and only one of those 40-man raids is going to get the tag, meaning the loot from those world bosses. We're going to have Azergos and we're going to have Lord Kazakh. Both of these bosses individually drop some very important loot, and there are things that if you can find a group or if you're in a guild that you're going to want to try to get some kills on these bosses for the chance at this loot. The PvP ranked progression rewards and honor system will be introduced in Phase 2, and what this means is that when you're out there griefing people in the world, you're now going to rank and get special rewards for participating in PvP. Now, what's especially interesting about Phase 2 is that PvP is not going to have any kind of formal instanced PvP content. It's only going to be outdoor world PvP. It's going to be extremely interesting to watch people get griefed And, you know, it's just part of the game, and you got to understand that don't get mad, get even with PvP. And so find your friends, go find the people that killed you, and go kill some more people, and just rank up to get those prestige rewards and eventually getting those gear rewards in Outdoor World PvP. Phase 3. Now, Phase 3 is going to add some interesting things. Phase 3 is going to add, on the PvE side, the Dark Moon Fair and the Dark Moon Fair decks, which have some epic rewards. And now it's really interesting. Those rewards kind of changed the game. It was the first kind of event that was added into WoW back in the day, and it should be really fun to experience that all over again. We're going to get the Blackwing Lair raid at level 60, which again progresses that endgame PvP even farther. We're going to get more gear. We're going to get more interesting content to do for all those people who have reached endgame. Now on the PvP side, we're going to get Warsong Gulch and Alterac Valley. What's very interesting about these two is that these are instanced PvP areas, just like how the previous phase only gave us Outdoor World PvP with a ranking system. Now we're going to have a formal way to queue up for PvP, to go in there and slaughter each other and have a good time. And I think what's going to end up happening is, back in the day, this created a much larger opportunity for people to progress in the PvP ranking system. I'm looking forward to it personally, and Warsong Gulch is the classic, the iconic World of Warcraft PvP battleground, and I have partaken quite a bit over my WoW career, and I look forward to doing it all over again. Phase 4 is going to give us a new raid, a couple of new world bosses, and another new PvP battleground. So the Zul'Gurub raid was in addition, again, progressing that endgame content to keep raiders going after even better and higher quality loot. The 4 world bosses, the Green Dragons, are outdoor world bosses. They are a lot of fun, but again, outdoor meaning that you're going to be competing for those kills with other groups of people. Makes the world feel big as you compete with other groups of people. On the PvP side, we get Arathi Basin, which is another instanced version of PvP. That's a battleground. Again, one of the classic and iconic battlegrounds. I'm very much looking forward to this. Phase 5. Phase 5 is going to introduce a new raid, a new dungeon, and some new loot. Now, this was a pretty significant step in WoW's evolution, as the Anchorage War Effort was released, and it just released 2 raids, a 20 and a 40 man raid, and then it also released the tier 0.5 loot sets. Now, this was a kind of a big deal, and it was a very punishing questline to get these loot sets, and it's punishing because it just takes a long time. It's like something like almost 30 different steps along the way to get these loot sets, but they looked awesome. They were worth it for people, and I think that it's something fun to work towards, even though it's going to take a significant amount of effort. For Phase 5, there are no PvP changes planned at this point. Phase 6, we're going to get the new raid, we're going to get some new world PvP objectives, and we're going to have a new world event. So during Phase 6, we're going to have the Scourge of Invasion, and we're going to have the Naxxramas dungeon. Now, this was the Naxxramas raid was the end of World of Warcraft Classic, World of Warcraft Vanilla. This was the end of progression back in the day before Burning Crusade actually came out. And so it's going to be interesting to see what happens after this. This is presumably a couple years down the road, and what Blizzard decides to do. Will we get Burning Crusade servers after this? Will they iterate on the game itself? More on that in a second. On the PvP side, we're going to have world objectives in Scytholis and Eastern Plaguelands, and this was for the first time to have like a capture the tower kind of concept in WoW. So we had to go out and capture an area for our faction, and then the other faction tried to take it back and forth, and then it would just swing back and forth. You get certain rewards because of owning it for a certain amount of time, have a currency to buy different things and all that stuff. So that's all going to be introduced in Phase 6. Now, I'd like to wrap up by saying that I personally hope they do not change or add to classic World of Warcraft. I hope they don't go down the RuneScape model and take the original game and totally redo it. I think classic is what it is. I think we don't need to change it, and I think that if they're going to have any kind of progression after this, then they should go on to Burning Crusade servers. But I'd love to hear what you think. Leave a comment down below. Let me know. Or email the show. We'd love to do another episode on that specifically and talk about viewer feedback and talk about different options that people come up with. Alright, well that's about it. Make sure you find us on all the social media platforms. All the links will be down in the show notes below. And we look forward to bringing you more classic WoW information, and be sure to check back for those guides every time that a new phase goes live on the main servers. And we'll catch you next time.